I'm a 12-year-old. Hey guys, welcome to my little viewer question Q&A session video series thing. I haven't had a chance to make one of these for a very long time, I guess, and that's probably because I've been investing so heavily into doing Dragon Age videos. You might wonder why I've recently switched to doing one a day on Dragon Age, and that's actually because I noticed that the initial buzz, and this was kind of bound to happen, after 50 episodes, it's kind of died down. And I noticed that every time I uploaded 2 videos a day, one was getting way more than the other one, way more views than the other one, which means that you guys were getting overwhelmed or losing interest to some extent, and we're starting to watch one video a day and ignore the other one in some weird pattern. So yeah, those numbers are looking a lot better actually now that it's one a day. But anyway, now to read some really outdated comments from last time I asked for questions. So, just to be clear, you guys can now comment in the audience. You can leave a comment in the comment section below, and I will answer your question at some point, probably, unless your question really sucks or is inappropriate, I guess. But so far, I haven't thrown any out. So, next question on my list, my little document I have to keep track of the stuff, is from Sozny or Sozny. It's the one with the W at the end. I think he's told me how to pronounce it correctly before, and I forgot. Whoops. Anyway, here's the comment. As for this channel, it says second comment because I guess he had a first comment, and I probably already answered that, or maybe I deleted it because I didn't think it was a question. Maybe. Anyway, second comment is what it says. As for this channel, I wish there was better ways to manage which series that have the potential to be continued and which one is going to be dropped. Like some of the series, for example, Child of Light or Gauntlet or Rogue Legacy seem to be postponed for quite some time. Hopefully the Dark Souls 2 co-op is not going to be dropped. Granted, a turn-based RPG, which is very simple like Child of Light, does not provide an ample dynamics to interact with the audience, but I hope that does not turn you away from doing commentary for Kingdom Hearts or future Final Fantasy. Both are still in the realm of RPG, although it's not really Soulsy. Alright, there's more comment after this, but I'm going to focus on this for now. First of all, let's just talk about the specific examples listed here. Obviously, Rogue Legacy has now since been finished since this comment was made, so yeah, I finished it. Gauntlet is specific. If you ever see me do a co-op series, like Dark Souls 2 co-op or Gauntlet, and it just mysteriously vanishes, that's generally not because I am intentionally dropping it. It's just because I'm working with other people, and they're not very reliable in some cases. It's hard to coordinate people to work together, especially at my scale. I only have... I'm still sub 1,500 subscribers, and a lot of the people I know are doing way worse than me and are only sitting around 100 subscribers-ish, if they're lucky. So, it makes it difficult to do collaborations because people aren't very disciplined about this and not always reliable, and not everyone is super dedicated to getting things done. So sometimes I'll have one recording session for a game, and then I'll be like, alright, we'll finish this up next time, or in 2 more sessions, or something like that, and then... nothing happens, or in some cases we just don't do something for months, but then suddenly it comes back, which is what happened with Dark Souls 2 co-op lately. Gauntlet, I still want to finish it, and the funny thing is the game's so short we might be able to finish it in 1 more session, but I don't know for sure if that'll ever happen. I'll try. To be honest, I'm not actually putting a lot of work into trying to coordinate sessions for Gauntlet just because I'm so focused on the games that I am currently Let's Playing. Because I'm not going to say that I am some beacon of hope either for co-op stuff. I try to nudge people about the Dark Souls stuff a lot because I like it a lot, and we have a frequent at least once a week recording session for World of Warcraft because that's a fun time to hang out with some of my more familiar friends, like obviously Andrew from Sad Games and my neighbor, and Wanderbot, my most frequent collaborator, who has actually visited my house before. As for stuff like the idea of letting viewers control what I do and do not continue, I try to avoid having a system where I need your input about whether or not I'm going to continue something or drop it, and that's because I don't know. I don't like the feeling that has. My goal is just to finish everything basically. So I don't really like the idea of being forced into a situation where I'm like, all right, now let's put it up for a vote. Do I give this series the axe? Because that makes me sad. Because every show is being watched by somebody, and it's really a bummer to be like, oh, I really like that series, but its viewership numbers dropped, so I better cancel it. Like, I mean, not, I mean, I'm sorry, I said that backwards. I'm trying to say it from the perspective of a viewer. Like, a viewer could be watching the series and like, oh, I love it. He does this series every week, and it's so great. And then he's like, oh, he's not making more videos for it forever. What? But I liked that. No, now I'm stuck watching these other things I didn't like. For all I know, could be the audience reaction. And to be clear, these ones that you guys talk about me bringing back, like you talk about Child of Light coming back or Rogue Legacy coming back, Rogue Legacy and Child of Light actually had bad views. If I was going to cynically remove shows for not doing well, I would remove shows like that because they didn't do well. In reality, they're canceled for different reasons, because I do my best not to cancel shows for viewership reasons. I think the only show I've ever canceled because no one was watching it was Banner Saga. I played Banner Saga when it was brand new, and at some point I was like, alright, that video has 14 views, and like I didn't get around to it for a few weeks, and then like 3 weeks later I'm like, yeah, that video now has 15 views. It's like, no one is watching that at all. That's special. Okay. And I just got unmotivated to continue. So Banner Saga got canceled basically for viewership reasons, because the viewership numbers were so astonishingly low that I actually felt unmotivated to even bother with it. Gauntlet is a logistical problem, just trying to deal with people. Rogue Legacy is obviously done now, but the reason why that was down for so low is because I got really frustrated against a boss and wasn't having very much fun, and I just kind of stopped. And I have a bad habit playing video games where sometimes if I'm really struggling with something, and I stop, and I let myself stop instead of continuing, it's harder to make myself play the game again. It's why, like, if you see me get really haggard and insane sounding during some of the Dark Souls boss fights, it's probably because I was forcing myself to continue to fight that boss indefinitely, because I didn't want to let it go and wait and come back the next day, because I was worried that I might not come back, because I have that's a problem I have. Child of Light, honestly, Child of Light hasn't come back and probably won't come back because the viewership wasn't great, so that it wasn't encouraging on its own, but the game itself was kind of starting to feel repetitive and like a chore to Let's Play. It's the type of game I could easily play on my own in a vacuum and just be like, yeah, I'm just gonna, maybe listen to a podcast and play through this game, just kind of not very engaged but enjoying it. That's fine. There's a time and place for that stuff. But if I'm going to Let's Play a game, I want to be engaged and challenged, and I want to be thinking about things, and that gives me more stuff to do. So Dragon Age Origins I'm engaged in because it gives me a story to follow, and I care about the characters and everything. Dragon Age Inquisition I'm engaged in because it has tactical combat, and I'm playing on a nightmare mode, and I have to pay close attention to what I'm doing. Dark Souls games are incredibly engaging because every single moment is a potential fuck-up. Horror games are engaging because there's a tension that's underlying everything. Child of Light, not as engaging. I could play it as like sort of dumb, behind the scenes, just hanging out fun, the way I play an Assassin's Creed game. By the way, both Ubisoft games, go figure. Frankly, everything published by Ubisoft that isn't Rayman, I don't find very engaging, to be honest. It's stuff that I can kind of play, and it's not that I don't have fun with it, but it's that I don't. Like, the idea of forcing myself to Let's Play it kind of feels like work in a way that everything else doesn't, and that's a bummer. But yeah, I think let's see, another glance at this comment. I think I've pretty much fully explained myself as far as how I choose to handle things. My basic strategy with this channel is that I pick video games that are within a overarching theme. So I pick fantasy games, I pick real-time action games, RPGs, so Shovel Knight is fantasy action, and Dark Souls is fantasy action RPG, Dragon Age is fantasy action RPG, Transistor was like a fantasy, it was an RPG, it was an action RPG, but it was sci-fi, so like it's I'll let things divert one element at a time sometimes, and I'll kind of latch onto stuff one element at a time. Like I did Legend of Gurmuk, which is a fantasy action RPG, right? But it had a heavy emphasis on puzzles, and I got a lot of subscribers and viewership based on that game, and I'm like, okay, now let's try a weird fantasy puzzle game, but without the RPG sort of thing. And that's kind of what led into Talos Principle. So I try to branch out a little bit, but I also try to keep everything wrapped in and interconnected in a way so that you guys are more likely to enjoy the shows that I put out. And the thought process there is I hopefully won't have to cancel anything because it all falls under a certain umbrella that'll keep you guys interested. Because I don't want to be the guy that says, okay, well, I have to look at this as a job. This thing's not getting enough viewership. I better cancel it. And unfortunately, people will totally unsubscribe because of one show they don't like, even if they're watching the other shows, and that's a bummer. But I don't know. I try to figure this out. As far as Kingdom Hearts and Final Fantasy goes, because you said, I hope this doesn't stop you from playing those. First of all, my understanding of Kingdom Hearts, and admittedly, I've only played like half of the first game and never touched the second game because I just didn't get I was a kid, and I had to share video games with my brother, so single-player games were very rarely finished by me as a kid, so I'd have to go back now to fully experience those games. But my understanding is that Kingdom Hearts is a fully real-time action, beat the crap out of stuff, and have some fun type game, so I don't know why Kingdom Hearts would be a problem. Final Fantasy might be an issue. Final Fantasy combat gets super repetitive. When you're not fighting a boss especially, it's just, like, boss fights are at least an event, and so it's like, oh, I better do all these specific things to not fuck up. But fighting random encounters, it's just like, alright, time to auto-attack, kinda. Like, I played Final Fantasy 13 and 13 too. I got bored, I didn't finish 13, but I did finish 13 too, because it's pretty short, honestly. And the repetition is really something. I just I don't know how I would do commentary over that, because I think I would get sick of trying to do commentary over it, and it would start feeling like work, basically. That said, Final Fantasy 13 Versus, which I think is now called Final Fantasy 15, I think they just gave up on the 13 thing and just called it something else, because they figured a trilogy of 13 games, and then having a 13 Versus and a 13 Type 0 would be too confusing or something, or whatever. I'm actually confusing myself trying to think about it a little bit, but 15 looks a little more real-time, and so if it has a real-time combat system, I might be more likely to play it, because it gives me more to work with commentary-wise, and that just works out better for me. That said, man, I really dislike a lot of the storylines and characters of Final Fantasy games. Specifically, I kind of despised the entire universe and characters of 13. Like, a lot. Like, that was... Man, Lightning seems like the worst protagonist in a game in a long time. I'm baffled by her popularity. But that's my opinion, I guess. So, I might be less enthusiastic about playing a Final Fantasy game just for the fact that, like, the story doesn't resonate with me, really, at all. Whoops. Okay, next part of the comment, though, because this comment does just keep going, just like this video. As far as any additional content that I'm looking forward to, make a series like Keith Plays, insert game title here, which is a short video, 20 to 25 minutes, that tells us about a recent video game that you currently plays. Nailed it! And what's your impression about it? It can be a weekly series. It does not have to fit the theme of the RPG. For example, Keith Plays Watch Dogs or Keith Plays The Wolf Among Us. The video does not contain a full playthrough like the ones you're usually doing, but hearing on your opinions, reviews on certain games can be entertaining as well. Okay, yeah, yes, probably. And yes, I've read this comment before. It's not like I'm just now considering this. I've read the comment before and I've been thinking about this. Honestly, I've wanted to do some kind of review / video game discussion thing for an eternity. I've been thinking about it. I almost got it off the ground at one point. I did a chronological... You may have noticed that I have a chronological story of Resident Evil 6 video on my channel. And you're like, why would you make that? Well, the original copy of that video on Sad Games ends with it saying, like, this was just a primer for the story of the game. If you click on this annotation, you can watch the full review. Was like a thing I did, I guess. And I specifically recorded the entire 20-hour playthrough of, I recorded my entire 20-ish hour playthrough of Resident Evil 6 for the purpose of making like a Red Letter Media, like Plinkett style, super detailed review of why that game was so awful to me. And it always falls through. And here's the problem with critical content on the internet. And it's why if I ever make this, it'll probably be kind of lazy, is because the majority of people who find videos that you make on the internet. The way my channel grows and how I get discovered by people is I play relevant games, or games that have a following, or games that people have some reason to look up. And as they're looking up videos on YouTube, they encounter my videos. That's how a lot of you encountered my channel, is by looking up something probably specific about a video game. Like, I have a weird number of hits from people searching Dark Souls 2 Felicia the Brave, which is a specific RPG, a specific NPC in Dark Souls 2, which I happen to put in the title of a video, and that got me subscribers. Like, that kind of stuff happens. So generally, if you're looking up super crazy specific stuff about a video game, you probably care about that video game on some level. You probably aren't looking up videos for the purposes of seeing someone trash it. And frankly, if I do a lot of critical content, a lot of it's going to be me being critical of video games. And I can be very critical, and I have a lot of things to say that people don't like hearing. And I follow a lot of reviewers, so that gets me enthusiastic about reviewing games and reviewing movies and reviewing all sorts of things that I experience, because I like the process of doing so. But the internet's a really hostile place to opinion, really. Like, I watch What the Flick, I watch Red Letter Media, I watch CinemaSins, I watch all these different channels, and it's amazing how hostile the comments can be to those kinds of videos. So it's really, and those people are not me. Those people have the advantage of actually having an audience that's dedicated to watching their videos, and then people come in and trash them on top of that. Me, I don't really have much audience to support me, so a lot of the people showing up to watch these videos are just going to be random people looking up the video because they like the thing. And then they're like, why'd you even review it if you don't like it? Or you're fucking fat-ass hat frog monster asshole. Get off my internet. I don't know. I'm bad at even pretending to do mean comments because it's just not in my blood, or at least not anymore. I was more of a dick when I was like a teenager, I guess. But people say awful, awful things to you for even suggesting that even one thing is wrong with a game. I've had people say awful things to me. People have said awful things to me before for suggesting that one element of a Souls game might not be very good, even though I love the Souls games as a whole, because you poke the slightest criticism at something and suddenly it's everything falling down. London Bridges, motherfucker. It's not great. So frankly, the idea of putting a lot, like, I've always wanted to do really good reviews of stuff, but that's a lot of editing and scripting, and putting so much work into stuff only to have like a mountain of negativity come back at you is really disappointing. And it's like, it's hard to get, every time that I want to start a big detailed review project, I always fall short, specifically because I worry about stuff like, oh, but then it's just going to be all this work's just going to accumulate in people being angry at me. So if this was my full-time job, making YouTube videos, I would probably make actual edited proper reviews, and I would take pride in it, and I'd be like, yeah, my audience will like this because I have an audience, because look at all those people. I mean, if it was my job, that would be inferring that I have a fan base that would be large enough to justify making a living off of it, which means that I would have people who would appreciate my reviews. But right now I put up a video and there's just like a handful of comments for the most part, which is great, by the way. This is the most successful community I've had on any channel so far in years, so I'm happy about that. Don't get me wrong. It's just, it's not on the scale where a super detailed, it'd be hard to justify the time that it takes to do a very difficult editing video. But like, as you suggest, I could just do a short video where I just talk about a game for a while. And that's the thing, is that if I want to do, that's what I was getting at a moment ago when I was suggesting, well, if I do it now, it'll probably be kind of lazy. What I'm getting at is that if I do critical videos, which I might do, I've been considering talking about Assassin's Creed Unity for a while now, for example. I might just do a little like vlog style video like I'm doing right now, where it's not really edited and I just talk about it. Maybe I have like a list of things I want to talk about just to keep it organized, but the video in the background is just like some video of that game and not necessarily super edited to reinforce all my points all the time, because that's something I can justify. But if I put too much time into a super edited one, which, and frankly, I understand that's not exactly what you were asking for, but it's something that every time I think of doing a review, I think I need to do this. It needs to be perfect and amazing, and I have to put a lot of time into it. So it's my hang up to some extent. But if I can get over that and just do sort of like vlog style discussion videos, almost like Total Biscuit style videos where he's just like, I'm just going to talk about the things that I felt like talking about with this game, and here's some gameplay footage, and that's kind of what he does. That might be more manageable, because anything more detailed than that, it would be difficult to justify the amount of time involved in working on it, just because I don't have a huge audience, so I don't make a lot of money off of it. But also, in my head, if I spend too much time on anything in particular, all I'm thinking about is, I could have been spending this time recording Let's Plays, because I'm constantly behind on my Let's Plays, so anything that takes real work would be a problem there. I'm kind of just rambling right now, really. I'm starting to talk in circles probably, so I'm just going to cut it off here. So thank you guys for watching, like always. Hopefully I'll be more organized next time in my thoughts, but thanks for the comment. You guys do not make very phonetic names, do you? Not that I'm any better with my weird SB at the end. But anyway, thanks for the comment. If you've made it this far in the video, be sure to leave a comment in the description. What? You can't comment on the description. I'm an idiot. Be sure to leave a comment below if you have any questions, and I'll be sure to answer them in a future video if I find them appropriate and stuff like that. I have a few comments left here in my text document, but I'm definitely going through them faster than they're coming in, probably because I haven't fully reinforced the idea like, this is going to be a continual thing. Keep leaving questions. But anyway, next time, guys, probably more Dragon Age and stuff. All those other Let's Plays and things. This is a wild ride. I can't believe this. Like oh man. Like I opened this video with like a 1337 subscriber count, and I was like, oh my, wow. 1337. I've already gotten that high? That was before Christmas. I was like, I'll make my next vlog after Christmas when I have time to record. And then Christmas has come and gone, and now it's finally time to record, and I already passed 1,400. Like, I have like almost 100 more subscribers than I did when I took that picture, and that was like just like a week and a half ago. I don't understand. Why am I hiccuping? Stop it. I don't understand why I'm glowing. Wow. I don't understand why I'm growing this fast. It's crazy, but I am so on board, and I appreciate your guys' input, and I appreciate that you guys are somehow enjoying this. I don't understand it, but I'll continue to just continue, I guess, until everything comes crashing down upon me, and my case of imposter syndrome just becomes reality, and it's like, you never deserved any of that, you idiots. Now it's over. Ha ha ha. But anyway, what the fuck am I talking? Goodbye. See you guys next time. I might be crazy. The end.